Hello and welcome to this edition of Nigeria and Politics. Of course, we are told that when there is a stable polity, such a government will develop. And therefore, we deem it fit that today we have this program, Nigeria and Politics. We want to look at the Electoral Act itself. Are there areas that could be amended? We want to look at engagement between the electorate, engagement between the elected and the electorate. How is the social contract going on in Nigeria? Because we're seeing situations where people get elected, and before they get elected, they all are over the place. As soon as they get elected, they forget about the electorate. Is it right? This and many other things we shall be discussing with a man of note, a politician who indeed has been very, very visible in Nigeria. I'm talking of High Chief Peter Ameh. He is the Secretary Coalition of United Political Parties of Nigeria, CUPP. My name is Ben Shaman, and we are reaching you from Third Eye TV, Central Business District in Abuja. Sir, you're welcome to the program.
Thank you for having me. Good afternoon, Nigerians.
Thank you. So let's start with the name itself, CUPP. Why the coalition of political parties?
The important thing is that the coalition of United Political Party was a child of necessity. As a result, when it came on board, we had former governor of Osun State, Olagunsoye Oyinlola, was the chairman at the time, and then my humble self as the national secretary, Ikenga Ogochinyere Imo, the spokesman at the time. He was the national public secretary and the spokesman for COP, and we also had Comrade Mark Adebayo as also is the second spokesman for COP. So it's a reason because we practice multi-party democratic system in Nigeria. Because if you go to section 221 to 229 of the Constitution, that is where you see the representative of multi-party democracy system, how it was established, how it was meant to operate, and how participation through it will bring political activism and political representation, how people get elected, because we do not have independent candidacy. So in fact, if these political parties come together, to try to push for common opinion, for views that will be beneficial to the general public, that will help those in government become responsible and pay attention to the yearning on the street, to the hunger on the street, to the pain that rural communities are going through. It will be good for Nigerians, because you cannot take away the importance of opposition in government, because opposition is actually a government outside government, so that we are the ones that put the checks in place, that talk to people in government, because as you know, most times people, when they get to government, they surround themselves with people who will not develop table manners, who will not have the courage and become spineless to encourage or advise those in government to do what is right, so that the people on the street can be the beneficiary of the benefit that is accruing from the table of government. Because government is meant for the people. Government is not meant for the bourgeoisie. It's not meant for those who have been elected. Those who have been elected are just representative of those who elected them, and they cannot be superior to them, because there have been Supreme Court judgment that says that even a senator or House of Rep is not bigger in any way than the man who is a cleaner in the Ministry of Works, because first of all, we are citizens of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, and none of us can represent the federal constituency or senatorial district or the president at the same time. So if you are ahead to represent, you must always continue to push for people's policy, for policy that will encourage development. And if you are in the National Assembly, you will make laws for good governance and development of the country. If you are the president, you must also execute laws for good governance and development of the country. So the United Political Party felt is that we should be the watchdog that will continue to speak truth and continue to encourage government and state that government must do what is right by our people.
Okay, now, before we come into engagement between the electorate and those elected, let's still look at, let's do some x-ray, I'll put it this way, between the CUPP and the government in power. Do they really take this organization serious, when you vibrate and you feel that, don't they at the point see you as some opponents, a kind of?
And that is the immaturity that comes with governance in most developing countries. But I know a lot of people are learning, and I've seen governments in the past who have taken this opposition, who have taken it, and it has helped. You know, from some of the activism we do with the judiciary, some of our our political activism we do with local government, for freedom for local government and the local government autonomy, which is now, you now have Section 162 being implemented today, so that local government officials can, executive can get their money from direct light charge. It's part of this activism that we have been doing for many years. So they could see naturally opposition in Africa and in Nigeria, to be precise. People might see them as irritants. Why are they always talking? Why are they always disturbing? But they listen, and you can see them adjusting. Because if there's no political activism, if there's no political participation, and if there's no citizens engagement, government will derail. And that is very key, that we continue to speak and continue to put out the right information to the public, so that the government will sort of know that the enlightened members of the public are aware of the policy, irrational policy decisions that are negatively impacting on the lives of our people.
Okay, now let's come to this issue of engagement. Now, here you are, you have the electorate, quite a lot of them, in millions. And you also have those now elected. At the House of Reps, for example, federal, 360 members of the reps, the senators, 109. Now, to what extent, by your own assessment, CUPP, how do these people relate? How do they engage? I mean, are they being held accountable by these same people who took them there?
For some of them, I think one of the things that we want to also concentrate on now is that for citizens to know that we need more citizens advocacy and citizens activism, because citizens have become, complacent in the process, because they feel that when you elect a person, the next time you need to see or to renew their mandate or refuse their mandate renewal will be 4 years' time. If you run government like that, it means that in 4 election cycle, you would have spent over 20 something years of your life doing nothing. So it is very important that citizens continue to have a center where they, collectively engage. If it's a senatorial district, they should be able to ask, why is the senator not having a constituency office, a senatorial district office, where people can come and engage him, and he appears there once in a while to tell them what he's doing that will uplift the masses from poverty. So it is this important aspect of citizens' participation that can only put pressure on those who are being elected to do the right thing. Because there's this level of docility that comes with, let them just do what they want and then get government. This approach to governance that has, made their people in government become more emboldened to do wrong, become more interested in trying to establish themselves in power without looking for a way to establish the people with prosperity, with growth, and with development. So these are the divide that exists. But without citizens' participation, these people will continue to behave the way they are behaving. The 109 House of Senators, you find out sometimes they try to do it when there's public outcry, where there's, even when you find out the Senate president is reading budget and not getting the figure right, and people start to cry, whether on social media or so, you will see that they try to adjust and do what is right at all times. So we need to take some of our action, because there's so much citizens engagement on the social media today, there's so much citizens activism on social media today, but there need to be foot on the ground. Their boot must be on the ground so that they can also engage physically, because without citizens engaging those who have been elected, they will behave anyhow and then come back for 4 years. And one of the major problems why citizens are not so, interested in pushing for some of this reform is because they also believe that these people get there not by their own stamp of authority, not by their own stamp of electoral mandate. Because if you have mandate without legitimacy, if you have power without legitimacy, it's also a problem with the citizens on how to engage. So we need to also look at the electoral reforms, and allow people who are there today to also be very careful. Because they think that, yes, you have a flaw electoral laws, and because of that you get elected by all means or by all ways. But when the citizens when they are awoken to their responsibility and determine that the election results remain at the polling unit, and that at the polling unit the results are announced, then the polling elected officials emerge. You can see what the Ghana Electoral Commission has said. You can't have another. This collation center is a fabrication of our own ideas that collation center becomes superior to result coming from a polling unit. So we have this problem, but the citizens I know are getting to learn from the problem, and they are seeing that the bulk of the suffering that is created by bad governance does not affect the people in government, because the people in government continue to live large, live luxurious life, and then why the people people who are government is supposed to be responding to their needs are living, tightening their belt on a daily basis, why they are choking up, to look for an opportunity to live a better life.
Yes. Talking of living a better life, we'll also be looking at what you've always been advocating for, because we've been following you, amending of the Electoral Act, because there are some gaps. But before we reach there's this issue of rice for the people. Just give them rice and you switch or turn their minds, and they give you the vote. Give them some peanuts and disappear. So how do the Nigerian electorate actually come out of the woods and begin to see that it's really not about you being given rice just for today and that is it? How?
Rice cannot lead us to prosperity, and this feeding bottle, sharing of rice from one House of Rep member, Senate to the president, it has become a national policy, which is making it very embarrassing. National policy of rice sharing can never taken. No country has come out of poverty with this kind of policy. Especially when it comes to handout, you must have an holistic policy towards making sure that people are not continue to languish in poverty. Look at what has happened for the middle belt, for the north central, like Benue and Kogi. They have farmland. These are people who are producing food for this country, and now people are not secure to go to farm. So the people must know that the more they demand accountability from government will provide necessary security, because the primary purpose of governance, that as defined by the constitution and even international charters, is that government is made put in place to provide and secure life and properties. Because if you have life, you have hope. If you have security, you have the ability to cultivate, to farm, to work and prosper yourself. So this is the enabling environment that government need to create. So this is what the citizens should be seeking for. Because if you are given a mood of rice, it can't take you more than 4 weeks. If you go to Ondo, they say where the slack started for, they say Bowoko Dibo. You understand? You to take money and go and cook soup. And how many pot of soup can you cook with 5,000 that will last beyond that period of 3 days for a family of 1 or 2 people? So people must come to the realization that the only best thing we can do for this country is that we hold our elected officers accountable. And people must reject this rice revolution of this rice sharing system that people give you. In fact, now they are not giving enough rice. Before they used to give 10 kg, they reduced to 5 kg. Now they are putting 4 people together to take 5 kg. So you can go with 1 cup if it's possible. So the embarrassment in our system is not something that is sustainable. It's not something. Look, people in government are making big mistakes, because there's no amount of money you will keep that will ensure that your children will have a guaranteed future. The only thing that you can do is to look at how people like Lee Kuan Yew came up and sacrificed his life for Singapore. Within a space of a period of time, Singapore became a player in the international community. Look at Japan. Look at China. The China mode, when they stood up, at the time, China was so poor. And when people see Chinese people eating the frog, they thought it was something that came up. The poverty was so extreme that anything that passes becomes food. But the leader at the time now said, no, it must stop with me. And came up with discipline and processes that have now made China the talk of the world when it comes to manufacturing, when it comes to technology, when it comes to all sorts of things that will make the human life better. So we are not having that kind of leadership, because citizens too are failing on their part. They have resigned themselves to fate. They are almost giving up and say, let them do whatever they want to do. And the reason why the poverty have not imploded or exploded in this country is because we have more rural communities where people do subsistence farming. They can put tomato on the ground and eat for that day. They can put sweet potato on the ground. That's why, because the level of inflation is staggering. You have over 34 point something percent inflation, headline inflation. Then you have over 40% inflation on food in the country with 39.6 million arable land. So there's something wrong with government policy. That government policy is not translating to reality. It's not helping the people to get out of poverty. And because of that, people in government are using that disadvantage that the people are now very poor due to the deliberate policies of state actors and then using it to subdue them by sharing this rice for them, like what Stalin did when he plugged all the feather of a chicken and was giving the same chicken bit by bit corn. And the chicken came back because of hunger. So we need to have a system where people will be courageous enough to continue to tell government that the money that you are spending is our money. All Nigerians are collective shareholders. So we first of all, to get it right for the people with the electoral act and the electoral system that we are having, we must have an election that represents the true wishes and aspirations of our people through the ballot. And elections must stop at the polling unit. You can't have election at the polling unit. People have cast their vote. Elected members have been elected. It's uploaded to the new technology that we're using, the IRF and the beavers. And then you get to coalition center, you see another result like it happened in the
Yes, High Chief, I'm sure we'll come to that, because really it's really a crux of the matter in this engagement with you here. But looking at those who brought changes in their countries, you talked about Lee Kuan Yew, you spoke about the Chinese experience, and here we are, a senator in Nigeria. If we are going to juxtapose this, he just sang a borehole, and every cultural troop is there, and you are hitting the chest to say, I have given you water. Is it really what you call the benefit or dividends of democracy this way?
It's not dividends in any way. When we're growing up, people in government talk more about creating, having pipe bomb water. You have pipe bomb water in Jos. You have pipe bomb water in Abuja. When I got here, you have pipe bomb water in Lagos, in Port. But now new communities don't have pipe bomb water because this government has stopped long ago.
Even Abuja does.
No longer pipe bomb water in Abuja. What you have pipe bomb water is in Wuse and Achokoro, maybe Kuba. These are old areas. Since we came into democracy, there's no deliberate attempt to have infrastructure put in place to have water supply to people's house. So when you see that people say government work, I laugh. So we cannot have a government where people come and the dog bowl and then people get to praise them. They come and put some of them put a toilet in the community and people come and play the one-room toilet that it will not even last beyond their tenure. People come and praise them. This collective endorsement by tribe, by religion, to accept the people who are not performing because they belong to our tribe, because we attend the same religious community, belong to the same religious belief, is killing our system. We must try to start to call a spade a spade. If you have a senator who has stayed for 4 years or has stayed the second tenure for 8 years, and it comes to dog a boy in your company, you should ask the senator if this is how he is surviving with his own children. You have people who can no longer go to public school. Public schools are dying today. I went to public school. They are dying today because the people we put in power, children don't go to public school. So we must question the people we have elected, because it is this mandate that you give.
And most of them went to schools via scholarship. Today they are taxing children of the poor so that they sustain them in government. What do you say about that?
They went to school via scholarship. They were given jobs and even given vehicles after they go back out of school. Some of them got jobs. Today, you get somebody who finished with first degree from a university, first class from a university, they will give the person 50,000. Now, we've seen cases where governors give certificate to the first class holder with 100,000 reward. Whereas you are seeing people who go to social medium to perform some abracadabra, they go home with 100 million, 150 million. The people in government have disrespect for the child of the common man. And it is obvious by the way they maintain public utilities and public health centers. That you can feel it from that, because their children are overseas. I saw a minister yesterday whose child was graduating from going to masters in United Kingdom. I saw a lot of them. None of them children can go to school here. They don't believe in our education system. And then you put the same people in office to pretend over the affairs of the common man. There's no connection. So there should be a law by the National Assembly. We can't ask them to make these laws because it's going to affect them diversely.
They can't make a law against themselves.
But if the citizens start to engage, people say, you know what annoys when you talk. One time I was protesting recently at National Stadium, and somebody was driving stop, my friend, and they parked. How can a man like you be president with the level you got? I said, it is for my children, the future of my children, the children be after my own children. Because if you cannot have a system that is equality and equity, then you can never, no matter the level of money you keep for them, it will never work. And that's why a lot of them are not learning, because they are not attempting to build an egalitarian society. Yes, you cannot attain it, but you should attempt to build it. You should attempt to achieve a goal that will create a system when even if your child has no money, he can get housing loan while working as a public civil servant. He can live in a comfortable 4-bedroom flat without having to break the bank. He can get a car loan. As in Nigeria, over 1 million cars are imported yearly to Nigeria. None is manufactured here. How do we grow with that kind of economy? So the people are not interested. As long as they can use our 150 billion to buy SUVs for themselves, as long as they use our 150 billion to buy private jet, they are not interested in the affairs of the common man. So the common man must know that even in social studies in primary school, they will teach you one of the pressure group. What do you use? Protests are part of all these things that you apply to communicate with government. Peaceful protest. You tell them what we are doing is not good. That's only when government listen. Government does not listen to people who don't cry, people who don't ask, and people who don't react to negative policies of government.
The program is Nigeria and Politics, and we are reaching you on the Third Eye TV Africa. We are at the Central Business District in Abuja. My name is Ben Shema, and of course, the guest that you've been hearing is the National Secretary of the Coalition of United Political Parties in Nigeria. I'm talking of High Chief Peter Ameh. He's been vibrating, he's been talking, he's been delivering. And we shift to another portion now, looking at the Electoral Act in Nigeria. Are there portions that are injurious to citizens?
Yeah, first of all, Section 65 of the Electoral Act, it has not happened. But if it happens, if we get a bad chairman of the commission, which says that the chairman of the commission, this is a 2022 Electoral Act. It's not amendment. It's an entirely new Electoral Act. You know, we have 2010 amendment. What we have today is an entirely new 2022 Electoral Act that says that the chairman of the commission can, review an election after 7 days and declare a different result. That should go away. And then we have Section 109, Section 109, Section 1G. That's, Section 1 says, 101, Section 1G says that if you are elected on the platform of a political party and you cross carpet to another political party, you lose your seat. But now Section 2 went further to water that Section 1 policy down, that provision down, that says that your seat can only be declared vacant by the presiding officer. If you decamp from Labour Party to APC and the presiding officer is APC, will he declare those seats vacant? He will not. So that law is not that Section 2G should be removed.
So they give you one hand and take with the other.
With the other one. So we also have a situation where we must review our electoral to say that result declared at the polling unit, if it's altered at the collation center, remain invalid. We will be invalid, and that the one who declared at the polling unit will supersede and take preeminence over what is written at the collation center, because votes are not cast at the collation center. Votes are only collated what has been cast at the polling unit. So that is one of the most important things we should do to try to secure our electoral process and tighten the nose on those who are masters of vote rigging and vote rewriting.
Okay, now let's look at the issue of cross-carpeting. For example, like you said, people cross-carpet. Mostly they go to the ruling party or the party of in government for the day. Now the provision says if you cross-carpet, then you have to lose your seat.
Okay.
Provided, look at that provision.
That is too easy.
Provided, and at the end, that provided stands. So how does Nigeria come out of that?
One, why do you have to hand over declaring of that seat vacant to a man who is a politician who also has the interest of his party to protect? It's an aberration in whatever way you want to look at it. So what they should have done, because as you speak today, everybody that have defected, whether from an NNPP to APC, from Labour to APC, from PDP to APC, if you go to INEC, the record will still read the original certificate that was given to them. It will not change. And INEC is the only statutory body giving the authority to keep record on how people were elected and on which platform they were elected. So why not just say that as soon as a man defects and cross carpet, the party should write to the Independent Electoral Commission informing the commission that a member of their party who was elected in so federal constituency or so senatorial district as defected. And INEC will now take their own investigation, finding out this is the truth. They will declare the certificate issued to this other person invalid and set a date for the conduct of a new election to fill in that vacancy. Or if people say, if you want to find it easy, say Supreme Court on several occasions have said that that slot belongs to the party, that there's no person on the ballot, that is the party that is on the ballot. It also happened between Ameh and Co. and every other person that have gone to Supreme Court, say that your name, I'm not the person running, it's the party that is running. Why not just tell the party to look for somebody from within that federal constituency or senatorial district and refill that vacancy? Because the party has spent money in the first election, the party has gone through all the campaign. Why would the party just pay for those consequences without any fault of theirs?
Now, in your candid opinion, is it possible to amend this area without these presiding officers? I mean, can they be Democrats in this going by this provision?
Power does not yield to too much talk. Sometimes there has to be some level of activism, like I have said. We have a quite number of opposition lawmakers, from the PDP to the Labour Party, to the NMPP, to the ADC. We have a good number of the opposition lawmakers. You know that if they team up and try to push for this reform, Nigerians will hear them, and Nigerians will join them. And if Nigerians join them, the presiding officer will become weakened, because power reside with the people. Power doesn't reside with them. It's the people that has the power. So the people will determine how, and which way it is more convenient for them to run an electoral process. And we are saying all these things because, for one, there's a Justice West panel's report that has also stated that our elections are compromised in a lot of ways because people who are partisan, who have partisan view, who have relationship with people, are pointed at members of the National Electoral Commission. It had become worse in recent time. That you find out somebody who have served as National Commissioner for Land and Survey, the person is a politician. Without political constitution, you will not get that appointment. He's not a resident electoral commissioner in Edo. I can't say that because he's a brother to a politician. No, I'm a politician and my brother who is not a politician, you say he will not get appointment. It is his constitutional right to get appointment. But when that my brother has become a politician, he should not get such appointment that needs an unbiased, non-partisan person to occupy the seat. So that's why Justice Uwe panel report has clearly stated that for us to be able to create an enabling environment where election will be very strong, where people will be concentrated about the consented credible election, we need to unbundle the commission. We need to unbundle INEC into different groups. Because if you go like Sierra Leone, INEC is not the one responsible in Sierra Leone. The EMB, election management body, is not what is responsible to conduct, to register political party and to monitor the activities of political party. They have political party registration and management commission in most of these countries. So that INEC will have less problem. Then number two, INEC will not be responsible for delineation and creating of constitution. No, they have another people who are involved, like the census department, all those things, they will do that. Then number three, INEC will not also be overburdened with electoral offenses. That's the Justice Way panel report, that there will be electoral offenses and related matters commission that will be effective, just like EFCC was taken from the police, so that they can now investigate this case. And then also there's what they call nulli prosequt, that is in the hands of the Attorney Generals of the state and also the Attorney General of the federation, where if somebody is arrested and the man becomes governor and appointed Attorney General, and they say the man stole ballot board for Party B, the Attorney General will go to court to say they are not ready to pursue the case, because they are the one that is supposed to pursue the case. So we need to take that away and put in a separate commission, so that any electoral offenses will not get to the hands of government or get to the hand of federal government or state. So we need to unbundle it and make sure that the function and responsibility of INEC alone is to just conduct election.
Now, talking of conducting elections, some people are of the opinion that elections could be conducted one single day, all of them. Is it possible? If you also look at what India is, because of a sheer size of number, the electorate, they conduct elections for close to 1 month. But is it possible that in Nigeria, all the elections, maybe federal, national, and all of them, you conduct them one single day?
They know. The people doing this know that the election should be conducted in one day. They are doing it for selfish reason. They are doing it to weaken the opposition, to weaken multi-party democracies that we have. They are doing it deliberately so that they will even stress out the electorate. Because why will you want to conduct 5 ballot paper election in 2 days? It has doubled the cost of conducting an election. We spend over 400 billion in running an election. In which country is that allowed? You give people 3 ballot paper on the first day. Why not add 2? People will do it. So we need to amend certain sections, section 105, section 1 of our part of our constitution, and section 134. And so some of this, about 4 sections that we need to amend. We need to amend it so that you can have the constitution, so that we can have all our elections conducted in one day, so that we can avoid this bandwagon effect. When election is conducted today and party G wins, the next election you find out that the party B will have almost nothing. Because why? Our people will say, oh, let them align. This double days for conduct of our election, it creates both voter apathy, increase the cost of conducting the election, and allow suppression of views. Because you go and look at the voter turnout on the second day, it's always very poor. Where you saw 200 people before, you see 50 people. So that the numbers of people who elect those who become governors is nothing to write home about. It's most times less than 15%, 10% of the population of the state. So if we want to get it right, if we want a situation where our elections will become more credible, and where we will not overstress our electorate, where we will not overspend public resources just for the conduct of the election alone, it is better that the elections are conducted in one day. And just first section of the constitution will be amended, and it will be a free ride for our people.
The program is Nigeria and Politics, and of course our guest is Chief Peter Ameh. He's the National Secretary of the Coalition for Unified Political Parties in Nigeria. And I'm Ben Shamang, your host here. We are reaching you on Third Eye TV, Central Business District area in Abuja. Once again, my name is Ben Shamang. Now, look at this thing we call freedom at the state level. Freedom at the state level. Now, why is it that when there are moves that you give the state assemblies some freedom, autonomy, you just realize that the constitution requires that it goes around to receive the blessing, the receival, approval of the state assembly, and they say no. You look at the local government autonomy, thank God that it had to go through an executive bill. Does it require an executive bill to do things of this nature?
No, we need to clear the local government issue very well. What the Attorney General did was a novel, it was an out-of-box reasoning. Because a lot of people have tried, it didn't work. He had to go back to the Supreme Court. Look at all the laws and the regulations, and now whatever we have on ground now is now overlapping, and also undermine the constitutional provision, because the local government it's about, there's an executive arm on its own. So it now went to court, and the Supreme Court now looked at the issues and said, because section 132 was where our problem was. Our problem was in section 162, where you joint local government, state and local joint account. State and local government account well thought out before it was put in institution. Because now when you say state and local government joint account, and the only signatory to those accounts are from the executive arm of the state, the governor. The local governments are not signatories. So when the money comes, the state local government will call them and say, your own local government is supposed to get 300 million. No? But we are giving you, how much is your salary this year? We tell them it's 3 million. We say, okay, it's 3 million, we'll add you 60 million so that you can just spend. They have the remaining money for themselves and say they have spent the money.
But Chief, do you smell a rat? Because look at elections being conducted for local governments. Whoever the governor is, no matter the party, that is everybody.
That's what I'm trying to go to.
Okay.
So the Attorney General has been able to solve the section 162, which has to do with financial autonomy for local government. So people are saying local government autonomy. No, we don't have local government autonomy yet. What we got was financial autonomy for local government, and that means the local government money will be paid through direct line charge from the federation account to hit the account of every local government, 774 local government of this country. But we still have section 197 that creates CX, State Independent Electoral Commission. When I ask people, most people say, how many electoral commission we have in Nigeria? They'll say, we have one, it's INEC. No, it's not one. We have 36. Plus the INEC is 37. Because every of the State Independent Electoral Commission is an independent commission. They're supposed to conduct election for people within that state. So, but the 197 became a problem because of a small proviso that was added to it, that the State Assembly will make laws. So the State Assembly, not being weakened as of today and in a vegetative state, are now in the caprice of the state governor. So whenever the time comes for them to conduct election, they will make very funny laws, and then they will announce themselves. Most times there's no ballot papers, there's no ballot box in all the polling unit of the local government. When they're conducting local government election, they just announce results. While the oppositions are waiting for election to go on, they announce results. So we need to solve that to be able to give our people, because the way we would have built our youth is when our youth will be we find out that they can contest for councillors and win. They can contest for local government chairman and win. But now you have to be a boy to somebody, a governor. And sometimes you see this local government chairman rolling on the floor. You see the councillors. I've seen a situation where a councillor of my ward was rolling on the floor in celebration of an election. I saw it with my eyes. When the councillor is supposed to be responsible for making bylaws for the good governance and development of the local government, it is no longer like that. So I hope gradually we will get there. And you talk about the State Assembly not being able to approve laws that will be beneficial. Under Saraki, the law was passed because what is keeping the State Assembly weak and in a non-performing state is because they don't get their money from the direct land charge. So the law was passed as the National Assembly, and it was supposed to go around the state. The State Assembly rejected their own freedom because of we were afraid of the governors. So that's how bad this situation has become. So one day we believe, as they are getting, local governments getting financial autonomy, the State Assembly will also have the balls and the courage to also free themselves from this very bad situation of being a weaker side to our democratic governance. Because the State Assembly, with a strong State Assembly, with a very capable State Assembly, no governor will take the money of our people. No governor will oppress our people. No governor will be able to mismanage the resources of the people, because the State Assembly will call that governor to order, because they both share power in the state. And the State Assembly is even stronger because the State Assembly was supposed to perform a supervisory role over the governor. The governor is not doing the same with them. It was only them that have the power to do oversight function over the activities of the governor. The governor doesn't have the same right, but they don't know. So you are supposed to now be there to make. The governor can't do his budget if he go out to bring money and spend it without going through the State Assembly. He would have committed offense.
But the State Assembly, same State Assembly, is already being compromised to the extent that you see that in many states, if there is a bill, it is always an executive bill, not a member bill.
They can't try it.
Also, but you see that like what was happening in Kaduna State, for example, any bill coming, mostly they were always coming from the governor.
From the governor.
Which also meant that the lawmakers had also been compromised, kind of.
No, they're not compromised. They have been captured. If you say they are compromised, it's like they have a chance to free themselves. It's a state capture. They have been captured. They are afraid. In fact, for you to move a motion, you have to see the chief of staff to the governor, explain to the chief of staff. Chief of staff will tell the governor that this motion is for his own benefit too. That's why I want to move this motion. Who are you? I have a State Assembly member in my state who moved a motion one time. Yeah, it took the glory of God for him to escape the wrath of the governor. So it's a situation we find ourselves.
So why have these governors become so powerful?
My fear now is that the National Assembly is becoming the same thing. No, it's the truth. The National Assembly is becoming the same thing. If the National Assembly and State Assembly become praise singing group, where you have choir, where the presiding officer become the choir master, then you are not going to have democracy. You are not going to have democracy because we have
under the suspension of members easily.
Because the other people are afraid to almost speak for their member when he's being intimidated. So you can just isolate one person who speaks right and then suspend him without any other members doing any work or saying anything, because they will also see when there's this head mentality that you get involved with, it will consume everybody. But they don't know what they are doing is for immediate benefit of their own family. But one day will come where they will find themselves on the edge of the sword. Because that time you'll be saying, if I had known, I've sat with president, the former president of this country, where I told them, do this, do this, it will help us, it will help democracy. They refused. I sat them after they left office, and they knew they should have done what we told them to do. I'm telling you the truth. Because if they have done it, where they're outside now, they won't feel it. Go and look at the Senate today. I know former governors who I know, more than 10, who I know personally, who are pushing for local government autonomy. They are pushing seriously for local government autonomy, because now, as a former governor and a senator from a senatorial district, you can't win your local government because the party in the state is not from your people are not from the same party. So they are now looking at so that time we're there, this thing we're enjoying, we should have worked with other people to make it so that if I am governor and I'm popular in my local government, I can at least retain my local government. There's no former president without the collaboration of a governor that can present a candidate in another party for local government election and win. No former president. Buhari never won one in his territorial in his local government until he became president. So they were now winning. APC was not the one in charge.
Well, we are getting very close to the end of this interview, but not without this last question, Chief. Now, 2027 is, let me say, around the corner. I can see Akpabio is already saying Niger Delta, all the states will be APC. You go to Southeast, it's going to be APC. It means campaigns have started. But as CUPP, can you kind of draw an agenda, a program towards better elections in 2027, here and now?
No, we are working on a symposium. We're going to have a very big, loud conference to state to Nigerian people what election really means, and how it affects the daily life and the continued development of our country. That is in the offing. And then we will find out those who are in government that continue to use government, offices to campaign. They are derailing government. I saw a picture just now of the SGF, in his office. 2027, no vacancy. Bola Tinubu carry go. That's public office. It belongs to all political parties. It belongs to all Nigerians. Nigerians must get these things right. We are trying to destroy the fabric of our democracy. The military dictatorship, they didn't even do worse to what we are saying today. But I assure you that the fight everybody have is the hunger on the street, on the hunger on the faces of Nigerians, the difficulty. People who used to leave Massacre Street to take a bus to come to Wusetu or Garki to work, almost trekking a kilometer before they can reduce their cost of transport. So the people are suffering, and that is the opposition that the people in government should have. It's not just the political party. People want to live. The reality is staggering, and it's something that by 2027, by 2023, a lot of people were very confident. Now there were no other third party, there were no other fourth party. Today, NIPP is in Kano, Labour is in Abia. Labour had over 6 million votes. So it is the people realization that they need to help themselves. That is even more important than any government policy that anybody is making or any electoral review that you are doing. Because the people are coming to realize that if we don't make a government that represents our own interests, if we don't make a government by ourselves, if we allow people to impose themselves through means that are not democratic, that means that are not democratically accepted anywhere in the world, then they will not be respectful to our demand. They will not be beholden to our people, and they will not cooperate with the needs of the people. So they will continue to entrench themselves in power and say, at least if the time comes again, we'll write another result. But if you resist that negative and illegal means of writing results that does not reflect the actions at the ballot box, then you'll find out that those in government will sit up. The reason why people are very, very indisciplined is because they are getting into power through a means that is not democratic.
Well, we hope that by 2027 we'll get it right, because we want to have a Nigeria that will take the lead in the Committee of Nations as the largest single black nation on earth. And it is here that we have to thank our High Chief, talking of our guest, who is the National Secretary of the Coalition of United Parties of Nigeria, political parties in Nigeria. I'm talking of High Chief Peter Ameh. I want to thank you for coming to Third Eye TV Africa.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
My name is Benjamin. Keep following us. We are here for you. Follow us, like us, share us. Once again, bye for now.